This is Rich Beam, PGA champion, and Rich is going to demonstrate for us what release is. So he's making a golf swing here with a short iron. He's on his way down to hit the ball, and at this moment here, I'm gonna draw a little circle around the club face. I can see the face of the club. You can kind of see where the grooves are. It's facing us. At the moment here, once again, I can still kind of see the face of the club. After he hits the ball, that club now has 180-degree reversed. We are now looking at the back side of the club. And what I want you to notice in his hands and arms here, as I draw a line down his left arm there, and you can see the glove on the bottom, and then the right arm there, that his arms have crisscrossed over each other. I'm going to step back in time here a little bit. So we've got the left arm here, right arm, the arms are separated, and as he goes through impact, those arms twist over, corkscrewing over one another, and you start to kind of see this X marks the spot thing. If you've ever hit a golf ball to the right, this is probably got something to do with it. For most people, they slice, and it's because they're trying to hold the club straight. When you see, well, I've got a golf club here that's open right before impact. If I'm trying to hold the club straight, that club is going to really kind of stay open. So we need to allow the club to release over, roll over, whatever you want to call it. You want to put a draw on the ball, you want to secure your slice, well, that's the way to do it. Also, as the club closes, it has less loft on it. Less loft creates a stronger club, which creates more distance, as well as when the club is releasing and rolling over, there's some speed involved there. So you're adding a few miles an hour to the club head motion as opposed to just holding it straight, which is going to slow it down for sure. So release here is absolutely huge for distance with a driver, with an iron, and it's also huge for your directional control. Here's Jack Nicklaus to demonstrate a release for us. As he approaches impact, once again, I see an open club face. I see the arms separated from one another. He hits the ball, and then instantly the arms crisscross over. Here's our crisscrossing. Here's our club very closed, turned over. I see the back edge of the club. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, hey, Jack Nicklaus, he's a left or right player. He plays a little bit of a fade. You know, folks, even if you're a fader, you do allow this release to happen, but typically it happens a little less aggressively or a little bit later. Looking at this particular setup here, I can see a big white bunker right behind him. Appears he's pretty close to that, which means he's on the left side of the fairway. He's probably on a dog leg left. He's got some trees in front of him, and he's trying to make the ball start and hook around the trees because he's probably got some trouble there. So even though he's a left to right player, all good players have the ability to work the ball different ways to help them with their strategy on the course. But here's one of the world's best, showing us a very strong draw release, getting a good right to left hook on the ball, and also a very powerful low shot that cuts through the wind. All right, this is Mr. Steve Lowry at the top of the backswing, and I want you to notice how quickly and aggressively his hands cross over here from impact. You see left arm and right arm, and then very quickly a really strong crossover. To me, it looks like he's really trying to hook the ball. You can even see at the top of his right hand, it's kind of bowed down. He's really working hard to close over that club face. Definitely trying to hit a big, strong, hard hook here. Club is coming from the inside. It's heading to the right. So he's swinging out to the right, releasing the hands over, get a nice right to left shot. That's how you reach par 5s and 2 right there. Hit a long drive. Steve Lowry. All right, here in part 3, we're going to discuss some things that are going to help you with distance, starting with driver tilt. Now, I've drawn a yellow line up. This is Zach Johnson, Masters champion. I've drawn a straight line straight up from his belt buckle and his belly button straight into the air. Now in red, I'm drawing a line that's going from his belt buckle and his belly button straight through the center of his head and spine. And you'll notice that his upper body is definitely not straight up and down. It's tilted to the right. What this does is it'll start to set the shoulders on a little higher angle. The hips hopefully will be on a slightly higher angle, and when we come swinging through the ball, we're we're hoping that with the driver, the club will bottom out. Let me just bring another line over here. The club's going to bottom out just behind the ball and then be heading upwards when it gets to the ball. So when you set up, we want you to always feel like you've got a little bit of tilt to the right behind the ball, maybe a little bit more weight over here into the right side. Let's take a look at another player. All right, here's the famous Nick Faldo at Augusta National Golf Course. And I'm drawing a line up through the center of his head and spine and belly button there, and you can see once again, in preparation for hitting a driver, he is tilted slightly to the right. And as we watch his swing, you'll see that his head, I'm going to put a little line here on the edge of his ear. During the backswing, his head moves back quite a bit, doesn't it? I think so many of us are told you have to keep your head completely still in golf, and that's not necessarily the case. There's a lot of really, really good players that allow their heads to move back, and you're going to see it more with the driver than with any other club. But once again, at top of his backswing, even though he's moved around a little bit, he is still kind of tilted behind the ball. As he goes forward, the head will stay back, but his hips have moved forward. You'll see his hips, body sliding forward. So at the moment of impact, this tilt that he had has increased dramatically. And that's something that we want to do once again, hoping with the driver that we're swinging slightly on the upswing, catching the ball on the way up, whereas with an iron we might be hitting down on the ball, which we talked about during the divot portion of our lesson today. And there's Nick Faldo. All right, now we're going to talk about clearing the hips. Here's Sergio Garcia. I'm just going to put a little reference point. I'm going to put a little line on the center of his back and maybe center of his rear end. We'll have him go through the swing, and we're going to take a look at where he is at impact. So he just struck the ball, and amazingly now we can see his entire back, and we can see that his rear end is now facing right at us. Very, very different from where he was at address. I think most people think that at address you should be kind of in the same position as impact, but no question his body has cleared out. Also notice his right foot up off the ground. Shows that his body weight has shifted from the right side over into the left leg. You can see the back of both legs. Despite the fact that his body has rotated, his body is basically pointing straight down the fairway at this point. But notice that even though his body's come through, his head is still down, his eyes are down at the ground. So something's got to stay back with the ball. But if you want to get the ball moving down the fairway, let's see some athleticism moving through like this. This is Sergio Garcia. Fantastic body clearing. All right, here's same hole, Ernie Els. We'll also look at body clearing, and what I want to talk about on this particular swing is his left leg. Now, notice we can't see his left leg. I can see his right leg and right knee there, but his left leg is hidden behind the back of his body. So let's go ahead and run him through the swing. Now I finally see his left leg. As he turns, it's kind of shifted forward just a little bit there. So I can see his left leg at the moment, and then it's going to disappear just for a second. As he starts down, the left leg is gone, and let's see where he looks at. Here's impact, and look where his left leg is now. You can see it. Once again, you can see the rear end, see the left leg, see the right heel up off of the ground. And you can see how quickly a good player gets rotated. I mean, here he is starting on the way down. Left leg's in front. By the time he gets to impact, left leg is behind. That's all happening in just a very, very few hundredths of a second. The faster your body moves, the faster the club will come in behind it. Ben Hogan said you can't turn your hips too fast. There's Ernie Els. Let's take a quick look at Freddie Couples here, known as Boom Boom for his ability to hit the ball far. Once again, he starts off right foot's flat on the ground. Hips and shoulders are set a little bit open. We talked about this earlier with alignment. And let's see what he looks like at impact on his way down. And already he's halfway through the downswing, and already I can see his left leg. I can see his left hip. And by the time he reaches the point of hitting the ball, We can see the entire back portion of his body cleared through. Look how much that foot has come up. He's basically just hanging on by the tips of his toes there. Moving through very nicely. Let's look at the end of the swing. We haven't talked about this yet. Not everybody's as flexible, but at the moment that he finishes the swing, here's the center of his fairway. His belly button and stomach is pointing probably over here, and his chest and sternum are probably pointing over here. He doesn't finish facing the target. He is well beyond. At this moment now, I'd say his hips and shoulders and front of his body is facing right down the middle of the fairway, but then it just keeps going around. Full follow through, like Sports Illustrated was there taking pictures. As a matter of fact, I see a camera flash. That's what we want to see for a full clearing of the body. All right, we'll finish our lesson today with Tiger Woods. Once again, we talked about alignment, how square he is. His body at this point obviously is facing straight forward toward the golf ball. Well, let's take him through his swing here and see what he looks like at impact. And it's no big surprise. We're seeing, just like all the other players, right heel up off the ground. See the rear end, see the left leg, see the back. He does not clear his shoulders out as much as some of the other players. Plus, he's trying to hit a draw here. So you'll see that his chest and shoulders are kind of still square facing the ball. Lower body's more open than that. And comes around, and just like Freddie, he finishes off kind of facing over somewhere this way. You can see the spikes, bottom of his shoe. Something else you might notice here is on his left foot, and I don't know if you can see this, his toe is up off the ground a little bit, showing a tremendous amount of stress into the rotation of the back of this part of the leg. And remember, Tiger's had a couple knee surgeries. You can see there is quite a bit of torque that goes into it. You know, the bad news, folks, I'm sorry to say, is if you've got a bad left knee, you're not going to be able to do this because you're going to have some problems. If you've got restriction in your hips, some of the muscle things that happen to us here, it makes it hard flexibility-wise. And to get into these positions, you may not be able to do it without spending a little bit of time with your trainer, doing some yoga, doing some golf-specific stretches. So this is definitely where the fitness of golf comes in. Because if you can't do this, then you can't create the same speed, and you're going to be lacking some distance. There we are with Tiger Woods. Once again, happy holidays to you. I hope you enjoyed and were able to glean some good information from this little lesson today, and we'll see you in the spring. Thank you.